If you're trying to decide between a new construction home and a resale home, stop for a moment and listen. Most buyers think that this decision is based on finishes or floor plans or whether a home is brand new. And that's not usually where people get in trouble. The real difference between a new construction home and a resale home has very little to do with what you see. It comes down to timing, risk, total cost, and how protected you are as a buyer. You see, problems can happen when buyers treat a new construction home purchase the same as a resale home purchase, like they require the exact same strategy, because they don't. This isn't about choosing new construction or resale and which one is better. It really is about which one actually fits your particular situation. If you're new to my channel and we haven't met yet, welcome. I'm Tina Veltri. I grew up right here on Florida's Space Coast, and I help people buy, build, sell, and relocate, often long before they're ever ready to move. And on this channel, you're going to find buyer guidance, seller strategy, new construction education, staging insights, and relocation advice. Because honestly, real life doesn't happen in just one lane. Especially when people are relocating. The move usually involves more than one market. Now, it could be an in-county move as well, and it still applies. But sometimes it means during your move, helping someone to sell their home elsewhere while they're buying here, or it could mean helping someone sell here and coordinating a purchase where they're going to be going. Often by connecting people with trusted agents I already work with and staying involved as a resource to align the timing, the process, and the closings. And when the coordination is done well, all parties are calmer, all parties know what's going on, and the move actually makes a lot more sense. So today I'm going to walk you through how new construction and resale actually compare, the parts that people really don't think about, so that you can decide what makes sense for your situation. The first thing I walk through with buyers is their timeline, because once we understand the timing, everything else starts to fall into place and we can plan our strategy. With resale homes, timelines are much more predictable. Once you go under contract, you're working towards a known closing date. But with new construction, timelines are estimates. Even with reputable builders, permits, inspections, weather, and materials all affect the scheduling process. That doesn't mean that it's wrong. It's just simply how building a new home works. New construction can work well for any buyer, even if you're relocating or selling your own home. But it only works when you have a plan in place and a backup plan for if your home isn't ready to move into when you are. And that could mean a short-term rental, staying with a family, or another temporary solution. What matters is having a backup plan before you need it so that you're prepared. But if you have a hard deadline, a job starting, a lease is ending, or a home you need to sell with no flexibility, resale is often the much safer path. But if you have flexibility, patience, and a contingency plan, new construction makes perfect sense. And that's why strategy starts before ever walking in a model home, not after. Cost is another area where buyers get very surprised. Not because one option is more expensive than the other, but because costs show up differently and at different times in new construction versus resale. With resale homes, buyers usually know the total purchase price upfront. Okay, then you got inspections, you look at the condition, age of the systems. It helps identify costs early. And then you have your inspections and renegotiations. But again, you understand the costs. But with new construction, it's different. With new construction, the base price is just the starting point. The final price usually isn't known until you've done upgrades or maybe a lot premium and design choices are selected. What matters most isn't just the purchase price, it's the total purchase price and the cost to live in the home during the first year. It includes upgrades and finishes and window treatments and appliances, landscaping, and any other post-closing expenses that buyers didn't plan for. And knowing when these costs show up makes a big difference. Now, there's a common misconception that new construction is low risk and resale is high risk, but that's not accurate. New construction risks usually live in contracts, timelines, construction quality, and what happens if circumstances change mid-build. Resale risk usually lives in the condition, the maintenance history, insurance requirements, and deferred maintenance of the home. Although inspections and getting things fixed and renegotiations can affect that as well. Neither option is wrong, but pretending that they're the same is where buyers often get caught off guard. Negotiation works very differently depending on which path you choose. With resale homes, leverage often comes from inspections, pricing, and seller motivation. But with builders, leverage usually shows up in incentives, inventory, timing, and contract terms, not price cuts. And it's important to understand who works for who, because a lot of people really just don't understand this. A listing agent works for the seller. A builder's rep works for the builder. And if you don't have your own representation, there's no one's job in the contract to protect your best interests. And here's something I always want buyers to think about. When people buy resale homes, it's customary to get an inspection of the home. But with new construction, buyers often do the opposite. They trust, they assume. And trust should never replace verification, especially when you're making a major financial decision. Both new construction and resale homes should be inspected, just at different stages and for different reasons. With a new construction home, inspections happen throughout the building process and then again at the end. With resale homes, inspections happen before closing during inspection periods to evaluate condition and risk. When buyers feel kind of stuck and they're trying to decide between a new construction home and a resale home, I usually walk them through a few simple questions. How flexible are you, with your timeline? How comfortable are you making decisions during this process? Does location matter more to you than customization of a home? And how much uncertainty are you willing to manage during this entire process? And once those answers are clear, the right path usually becomes obvious. The mistake isn't choosing new or resale. The mistake is choosing without a plan. If you're weighing the decision between new construction and resale, I'm always happy to talk you through it, even if you're still in the early process. And if new construction is on your radar, I'll link my Watch This Before You Build video here, because that one walks you through what buyers should understand before visiting a model home. And if you're interested in even more about the construction process, make sure to watch my How to Buy a New Construction Home Step by Step. I really dive deep into more of the nuts and bolts of new construction, especially concerning inspections. And if you're selling a home as part of your move, I also have a full seller-focused video playlist that goes over pricing and staging, preparation, that walk you through that side of the process step by step. If you're still in the research phase and just want clarity or have some questions, I'm always happy to help you think through your next steps. Again, I'm Tina Veltri. Thanks for being here with me today. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more buying, selling, and new construction, educational type videos. I'll see you in the next video.